Hey, let me take the opportunity to remind you of something really important right now. The righteous will flourish, while the wicked will perish. Keep that in mind. That's what Psalm 92 is going to tell us. The righteous flourish, while the wicked perish. You know, it's discouraging sometimes to be a Christian. I remember in The Fiddler on the Roof, I can't remember the name of the character, but he turns to the Lord in a moment of crisis and he says, Lord, I know that we are your chosen people. He's Jewish. But once in a while, could you pick someone else? And it seems like in our Christian lives, we are suffering while others are happy and joyful. That we are struggling to get ahead or just keep our head above water while others seem to be living a luxurious life. That's not always going to happen. And that's what Psalm 92 reminds us of, and Psalm 92 intends to encourage us with. The righteous flourish while the wicked perish. I think one of Satan's strategies that I often see him use among people, and I do biblical counseling, pastoral counseling with a lot of people, is that he discourages us by trying to convince us that nothing ever changes, that the way things are just going to go on forever and ever. This is what Second Peter talks about, isn't it? When he talks about where's the promise of his coming? Things just keep going on like they always have. Satan's discouragement strategy is to make things that make you convinced that things just go on as they are. It's particularly true, I think, when we see the wicked getting ahead and the righteous seem to get the short end of the stick. Perhaps this has happened to you personally, that you seem to be getting the short end of the stick all the time, while people who are not even believers, maybe some who are flagrant sinners, seem to be getting ahead. Well, again, let me remind you, and let the psalm remind you, that the wicked have a short shelf life. The righteous will be going to flourish forever. That's what this psalm is telling us. Here's our outline, just quickly here. First, we start with the celebration of the goodness of God. You know, we root ourselves at the beginning of this psalm right in this characteristic of God, this attribute. He's good. Whatever he does is good. He always does what is good. He always will. And just as you go through these first 4 verses, just take note of some of those words. Give thanks, sing praises, declare with music. Sing. And what are they singing about? What is he declaring? What is he proclaiming? The Lord, Most High, full of loving kindness, full of faithfulness, full of good works. We need to root ourselves in that. We need to remind ourselves in that, particularly when we're feeling discouraged, particularly when we are feeling like ready to give up. Right? Why keep doing good when the bad seem to get ahead? And we want to remember the greatness of his works. That's what we see in verses 5 through 9, the greatness of his works. God's works and his thoughts in verse 5 are really incomprehensible. They are very deep. It's hard to take it in sometimes. We're confused. In contrast are those who deny him. They are without understanding. They are senseless. They are stupid, it says, and they will be destroyed. That's what verse 7 is going to tell us, our here verse when we get there. So God's works and his thoughts are incomprehensible. The senseless man has no knowledge. The stupid man doesn't understand that the unrighteous have a limited shelf life. Verses 10 through 15, we see the growth and flourishing of his people. That's guaranteed. The righteous will be exalted. So let's camp out on our here verse for a moment here. This is what the senseless and stupid think. That's what it's telling us. They are convinced that the wicked, the sinful, are going to continue to grow. They're going to continue to flourish. I love the imagery here. Grass spouts up at the beginning of a day, covered with dew, might look luxurious, but at the end of a hot day, it's going to be wilted. It's going to be burned up by the heat of the day. Their purpose Why did God do that? Why did he bring them forth? That they might be destroyed. That's their purpose. Just as Pharaoh's purpose in Egypt was to display the might and works of God, so in them those wicked who prosper today are going to glorify God when they suffer his judgment and bow their knee to him. Those people who have been getting ahead will no longer get ahead, but they'll be looking at the eternal flames of hell. So the psalm here, as we apply it to ourselves, think about it, meditate on it, is a reminder that the faithful reader and worshiper, that's you and I, right? We're reading this psalm. Who else is going to be reading this psalm but anyone who is seeking God and perhaps seeking his help? It's a reminder that things will not go on as they are. A day's rapidly coming when God will reward the righteous and destroy the wicked in the eternal flames of hell. Jesus put it like this. He said, the first will be last and the last will be first. That's his promise to us. We need to root ourselves. We need to remind ourselves. We need to encourage ourselves from his word. So respond to this psalm today by strengthening your faith and steeling your resolve. Read Revelation chapter 20, verses 11 through 15. Let those verses remind you, not to make you smug, but to make you confident that God never forgets a hurt. He will always reward the righteous. That day is coming. I think the day is fast approaching. God bless you, brothers and sisters. Remember, it's not always going to be like this. That God will cause the righteous to flourish and the wicked to perish. God bless you.